I stand with trans people. Time and time again, people are having to fight for their rights, whether it be women, whether it be African Americans, whether it be Native Americans. People are constantly trying to fight for their rights, and that is what we are doing right now. We are fighting for our rights, we are standing up, and I think this is really important. Hey guys, it's Blake, and today's video is really important to me, and it's really hard for me to talk about because it is talking about my struggle with gender identity. I'm making this video because the current political climate in America is going crazy right now. You guys don't even understand, or maybe you do understand, but I think it's in times like these that we need to come together and people need to live authentically and stand up for what they believe in and stand up for who they are. And for me, I am going to stand up for my community. I am part of the LGBT community, and I'm gonna get into that in this video. I want other people to see that there are people like them, that it's okay to question your gender, especially in a society that is kind of trying to take away transgender rights right now. I don't want to get too political. This is the only thing that I'm going to be saying about politics, but a lot of the decisions being made by the Trump administration are going to have a huge negative impact, especially on minority groups and already vulnerable groups like the LGBT community, and most of all, the transgender community. That is why I'm making this video, to educate people, to talk about what's going on, and to hopefully help somebody, because that's all that matters. I want to help people, and if anybody can take away something good from this video, my job is done. I've struggled with my gender identity for most of my life, and I still continue to struggle with my gender identity every single day. And before I get started in this talk and in my story, I'm just going to read to you guys the definition of gender identity for those who don't know what it is. Gender identity: a person's perception of having a particular gender which may or may not correspond with their birth sex. So there is a difference between gender and sex, you guys. That has to do with a lot of what Trump is talking about, a lot of what is going on in our political climate. So it's important to be informed about the differences between gender and sex. Gender is who you are in your mind. It is who you are. And then sex is the genitalia you were born with. So that's just a little rundown. That's the basic version. I hope people don't come for me for that version just because it's very vague. But anyways, I'm just going to get straight into it and talk about a little bit of my childhood. I was always a really feminine child. I actually have a video on this on my channel, so feel free to check it out. I can link it in the description. But I was a very feminine child from the beginning. I was always gravitating towards women's objects. I always loved women. I was super close to my mom and the women in my life, and I just never felt like I fit in with men. And over the course of the years, I fell into gender roles like that are kind of pushed onto people by our society. The idea that, oh, boys wear blue, girls wear pink, and that just never sat well with me. I never felt like I was really a boy. Like, I was never into boy things. I was never into anything about being masculine. And now that doesn't necessarily make me transgender. That's just something that I struggled with, that a lot of other people also can relate to. Moving on though into my teenage years, I'm skipping around a lot. I started to embrace who I was. I started to come into my own, and I came out to gay as my mom when I was 14, so I was super young and super comfortable with myself. But it took another couple years before I started to really connect the dots that there was something more than me being gay. There was something that I was struggling with internally, and I didn't want to talk about it, but I slowly started to open up to friends, and I started to research. And the first people that I came across were YouTubers like Gigi Gorgeous, like Steph and Yachty, like Princess Jules. Those are people that I really looked to, and I decided that at 17 I was going to make my own YouTube channel under the name Chandler Rose, which was going to be the name I used if I was to transition. Chandler would have been my name if I was born a girl, and it would have been, my middle name would have been Rose. So that's where that name comes from. And anyways, I made this channel. I was trying to help people, but then I ended up taking it down just because a lot of other factors were going on in my life. So when I was 17, I also got into makeup. I started not caring what anybody else thought of me. I wore girl clothes. I would wear makeup and fake lashes. I was growing out my hair. I was basically getting ready to transition. And in that process, I ended up coming out to my mom, and I told her I'm transgender. And that was a very long emotional conversation. A lot of tears were shed. But she was totally supportive. And meanwhile, she got me a gender therapist. And I started going to a gender therapist. We talked about it. And things are going on the right track. I was figuring out my life, figuring out who I was. And everything was fine and dandy until my house got robbed. So when I was 18, my house got robbed. And when you get robbed, it's a very personal thing. It's just very intrusive on your life. You never really feel safe again. And for people that have been robbed, you probably know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you're lucky. But it was such an invasion of privacy. And the thing is, when I was robbed, the people targeted me, and they stole almost every single thing that I owned. They stole my clothes, any of my designer bags, my jewelry, my sunglasses, even like electronics, just everything, even my shoes. They stole my shoes, you guys. And the one thing that really got to me was that they stole all my makeup, all the things that really mattered to me, because the bags, okay, the shoes, whatever, but the makeup was a direct hit of who I was and who I was becoming. I don't know if that makes sense, but makeup was really valuable to me because when I put on makeup, I was embracing who I was, and a little piece of who I was got stolen. And it was in that moment that a lot of other things started to happen. My mom and the people around me were kind of judging me, and they weren't saying it and coming out and saying, okay, like, we don't want you to transition, but it was implied. And I kind of broke under the pressure of other people telling me, and their disapproval of me made me question who I was. So I ended up getting rid of almost all my clothes. I started over. I started getting all guys' clothes. I stopped wearing anything feminine, stopped doing my nails, stopped doing makeup. I cut my hair, and I wanted to feel like a boy. Like, that was my goal. I wanted to feel like a cute boy, and that's what I went with for a couple years. And then about 18 too, but about 19, after suppressing these feelings for so long, I started to get really depressed. And not depressed in a way like, oh my god, I'm so sad about work, I'm so sad, like about a job, I don't even know, I'm just so sad in life. It was just an overall feeling of just dread, of just basically what it came down to is that I was struggling with every sense of myself. I was struggling with who I was on the deepest level. And that year, my 19th year, was horrible. I went through a lot of different things. I went through drug abuse, alcohol abuse. I was a victim of sexual abuse multiple times. I just had a lot going on. I was robbed again, and I just felt like my life was in turmoil. But something that I kept turning to was that I had this inner feeling of my femininity. I had my femininity that kept driving me through. My strength came from within, and that was feminine. That was my feminine energy, and I don't know how else to explain it. Maybe I sound crazy, maybe people don't understand that right now, but that's just what kept me going. And it wasn't until the beginning of 2018 that I really started to let myself experiment more. I went and I started buying more makeup, I started buying more girl clothes, and I started to kind of feel those feelings coming back, the feelings that I knew were there, started coming back to me. And it was really hard because here I am living my life as a boy and trying to conform to these gender roles and make my parents happy, make my friends happy. And here I am questioning everything about myself, and here I am wanting to experiment again. And that was really hard. It was really hard to talk to people about it, and it was really hard to let people in and let them see me for who I am. And it's been a process. It has definitely been a lot of ups and downs, but I am working towards becoming who I want to be, whether that is me wanting to transition, whether that is me feeling like I am a girl. Right now, I struggle because I have a lot of feminine energy, but I also have a lot of masculine energy, which you may not be able to tell, but I go back and forth, and I'm just at a place where it doesn't matter to me, where it doesn't matter whether I'm dressed like a girl, whether I'm dressed like a guy. I feel like my gender is constantly changing. This is something people like to call gender fluid, and I think that's the way the world should go. I think that gender does not, like, clothing does not have a gender. Like, the things we have, like, don't have a gender. Colors don't have gender. It's our society pushing gender onto people. It's our society being narrow-minded and not being able to think for itself. It is constantly in these boxes, constantly wanting to label people rather than just letting them be who they are. So this is my little rant. This is my little talk for people, and this is some of my experience, but I am somebody that has struggled. I am somebody that continues to struggle, and I am constantly evolving in my gender identity. My gender identity and how I see myself is constantly evolving. Right now, I don't know if I'm going to transition. I don't know if I want to stay the same. I don't know where I want to be, and that's okay. That's totally okay, because I have all the time in the world to figure out who I am, to figure out what I have to offer the world, and who I am, and who I want to be. And so, I'm just doing a lot of soul searching, and for all the people out there that are struggling, just remember that it's okay to question. It's okay to wonder and not understand who you are. There are so many people that are out there supporting you. I know that there is a lot of negativity in the world. There's a lot of negativity in the media and in the government, and people that are trying to tear down the progress that we have made as LGBT individuals and as a group together. It's really scary, you guys, and I understand where the fear is, but the thing is, we cannot let that get to us. We need to be authentic to ourselves. We need to be who we are, and whether that means making a political statement, whether that means fighting for our rights, like, if you look back in time and time again, people are having to fight for their rights, whether it be women, whether it be African Americans, whether it be Native Americans. People are constantly trying to fight for their rights, and that is what we are doing right now. We are fighting for our rights. We are standing up, and I think this is really important, as all of you should also think it's really important. We are, like I said, in a crazy political environment, and I think that it's more important now than ever to be who you are and to embrace who you are. So to all the people out there that are struggling, it is so important to love yourself and to understand yourself and just learn how to be yourself and how to love and respect yourself. Whether you are gay, straight, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, gender fluid, whether you're cisgender, I don't know, you have to learn to love yourself and make peace with who you are. It's okay to question yourself. It's okay to struggle. I've struggled, everybody has struggled, and gender isn't easy, life isn't easy, and what it comes down to is that we are in this together. You are not alone. There are so many resources that are out there to help you. There are so many people that are willing to help you, and so many people that are willing to send you love. I'm sending you guys lots of love. I'm sending you guys lots of positive energy, and just gotta ruin the moment. That bell's gotta ruin the moment, but no, this is just my message to everybody. I know I'm getting a little redundant now, so I'm probably going to stop right here, but I stand beside you guys. I stand beside myself as somebody that is part of the transgender, gay, bisexual, lesbian, QIA community. And yeah, stand up for yourselves, you guys. Be who you are. Don't let anybody else influence you. Don't let anybody else tell you that you are wrong, because you guys are living authentically. You guys are doing you, and that's all you can do. That's all you can do. So without making this video longer than it has to be, yes, that's my message, and I am going to probably be making a couple more videos just talking about my gender identity, some of the experiences that I've gone through. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned, subscribe to me, turn on post notifications, follow me on Instagram. I'm also going to be linking some videos down in the description, some videos and links down in the description for trans group, for trans support. I'm going to be linking the Suicide Hotline, Trevor Project. There are so many resources out there, you guys, that can save lives and change lives, and I guess that's all I want to do. All I want to do is help people, and if this video helped one person, then my job is done. I am happy, and like I said, I'm rambling right now, and anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give this a big thumbs up, comment your support, and yeah, I stand with trans, and I love you guys, and thank you so much for watching. Just remember that life is a mess. Life is a mess, so let's be messes together. Bye.